Hello everybody and welcome back to Modded Minecraft with Red. So in between episodes I taught the system how to make a few more things. Just a few. I taught it how to make some of these signalum servos and signalum filters. We will be needing those sooner rather than later. I also taught it how to make paper because for the filters, if we take a look, we can't in there. There we go. The servos, it's going to take some sort of hardened glass or fused quartz glass will work just fine, or fused quartz rather. Some iron nuggets, some signalum ingots, and redstone. We've already seen how to make the signalum because if we look, we've already made the resonant pulverizer. For the filter, it's basically the same thing. Whoops. It's basically the same thing, there we go, as the servo, except instead of redstone it takes paper. That's why I automated paper. Also taught it how to make item ducts. Wow, Red, you are on point today. Just keep grabbing the patterns out of there. If we take a look here at the item duct, that is just some sort of tin ingot and again fused quartz or hardened glass. So we have that ready to go. I also taught it how to make gears as well as all of the machine frames all the way up to resonant. And then of course, you know, the other bits and bobs that we need to make the pulverizer, such as the redstone reception coil, the copper gear, and we already know how to make pistons. There's the sticky piston, the piston is farther up. And there's our pulverizer. So we have automated the production of pulverizers. So let's go ahead and order one of those up. And while that's cooking, well, shoot, it's done already. I've been working on getting us some more Enderium. Yeah, that's right, 2 stacks. I want to make sure that we have plenty. So let's go ahead and reconfigure this. So this is just output only. And we will turn this back to furnace only for now, just so, you know, nothing happens down the line where we're trying to make something and it goes all cattywampus on us. So there we go. And I was also doing some thinking, guys. We're going to grab a few more cables here. We're going to upgrade some of these cables upstairs to our dense cable, because we're going to need more than just 8 channels on a lot of these areas that we're finishing up today, or working on finishing up today. So right here, we are going to go ahead and pop this cable off all the way up and over. There we go, come on. And here we are going to instead put a smart cable right there. And then down here, because remember the dense cables can actually carry 32 channels. So we are actually going to lay a line of dense cable right here. And we will connect that up to right there. And off of here, we are actually going to pop our anchor. And we are going to undo this cable right here. So there we go. As we can see, we got 5 out of 32 coming through there. And here we are going to swap out. We are going to put our smart cable right there and connect those back in. So now there we've got our 3 plus our 5, so we are using 8 of the 32 channels off of this dense cable right here. The reason why we're doing that is we're actually going to extend this line out here a little bit more. So actually, thinking about it, Red is not on point today. We're going to take some of these travel anchors. Travel anchors, wow, why do I keep calling them travel anchors? Cable anchors rather. We're going to lay those across there. Then across here we are going to put our dense cable. right on the end of these cable anchors. And we're going to bring it all the way across to right here. So yeah, that's gonna have to go real quick, and that's gonna have to go. And while we're doing it, we might as well do it properly. We'll pull all that stuff off. Let's go ahead and grab our cable anchors. And we will place these right up here like that. We're going to place one right in there. Not like that. So let's go ahead and pop that off real quick. Let's put our smart cable back down. Put our cable anchor there. There we go. Now we can take our dense cable, put that back there. It's going to be separated. We can go there, and now we can take our smart cable and place it off the bottom of that. There we go. Now we can rerun our quartz, or our standard cable right here, our glass cable. Just like that. That'll take us back up to our 8 of 32, and we've got this nice little line here coming all the way out, which we can still hold another 24 channels off of, which is really nice because we will be needing it. So what we're going to do here is we'll bring this over one more. And let's go right there and up with it. So that way it's more up on the ceiling and kind of out of the way. If we need to rerun this because we add more barrels, we can do that. So there we go. We'll just kind of extend it out a little ways here so that we have some room. So now, what are we going to do with this pulverizer? Well, with this pulverizer, we should have this power line coming straight through here somewhere. So that's why we ran this cable down this far. For the time being, we're just going to pop a hole in the floor right there. And we are going to grab ourselves another piece of conduit. Just one will be sufficient for now. Let's come back up here. We will lay the conduit down. Now we will put our pulverizer on top of that. So now that's getting power. Let's go ahead and configure the input and output. We will have the input be the top, and let's have the output out the back. So now all we have to do is get another import bus and export bus. Well, let's look up our buses here. Export bus, next start. Import, next start. Cool. Let's grab our capacity cards, and we will grab our acceleration cards. So remember how I said that, we have these dense ores that we have to contend with. Well, guess what? That's what we're doing right now. We're going to set our export bus on the top here, our input bus coming in the bottom there, or coming out of the back rather. We will just bring our cable up like so. Let's go ahead and throw a smart cable on here, just so again we have a visual representation of how many channels we are using. Awesome, there we go. We're using another 2 channels, so now we're up to 10 on this line, which is fine. And let's go ahead and throw our capacity cards in there, and we will throw our acceleration cards as well, just so that we can start working through this stuff a little bit quicker. So in here, we are going to look for anything that says dense. So we are going to grab our dense Certus. We are going to grab our dense charged Certus. Our dense coal, our dense copper, our dense diamond, and I'm already seeing something that I derped on yet again. There's our dense gold and iron, our dense lapis, dense lead, dense redstone, dense silver, dense tin, and that should be everything. So, we're obviously going to need yet another export bus, which is fine, but let's get this cooking. We are also going to need a couple of fuzzy cards. So there we go, now we've got our fuzzy cards. Because remember, if we tell it to export Industrial Craft 2 copper, that is the only thing it's going to export. And we want it to export everything. And as we can see here, we have, you know, our dense copper ore from dense ores, and dense copper ores from dense ores. But we got 2322:9 and 2323. Those are technically two separate ores. And if we tell it to only export the 2322:9, it will not export the 2323 because it sees them as two separate ores, even though they're both dense copper. So we will take one of these acceleration cards out, and we will put in a fuzzy card, and now we can go ahead and let's turn off the import real quick. And let's start loading this up with what we want it to do. So there's our 9, and we still need 1, 2, and 3 more. So over here on this side, this is where we're going to throw our other, actually, let's do it off of this side. We're going to throw our other export bus here with our fuzzy card. And looks like we're going to need one more capacity card. Or we'll grab 2 more just to be on the safe side. How about you spell it right, Red? There we go, 2 more capacity cards. Excellent, thank you. And we will just throw those in there real quick. And so now we went up to a dense iron ore, dense lapis ore, we got dense lead, we got dense redstone is where we left off. There's that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Excellent. So now we can just add 1, 2, and 3, and that will take care of that. Now, this thing doesn't necessarily need to be fast. We will definitely upgrade it, put some augments in it so that it processes a little bit faster. But as of right now, you know, we don't need this going blazing speeds. So we're just going to leave this as is for the moment. And let's go ahead and wrap that cable around the back there. So now we can come in here and we can configure this, input there, and it will start exporting all of the dense ores that we get. And when it has exported them, it's going to grind them up very, very, very slowly, and it will give us, you know, X amount of regular ore. So if we take a look at the dense redstone ore here, well, we can either smelt it and get 12 redstone out of it. We can throw it in a macerator, which we haven't made yet, from Industrial Craft 2 to get 4 redstone ore. We can just throw it in a redstone furnace to get 12 redstone. Or we can pulverize it to get 4 redstone ore. Well, there's some things that, you know, require redstone or the pulverizer only to get the best amount out of it. So that's why we're just going to set it up with a pulverizer, because that way we get the maximum. Redstone is one of those rare ones where it doesn't too much matter. So if we take a look at like the dense Certus, macerator 4, pulverizer 4. Let's see, how about diamond ore? Dense diamond ore. Macerator 4, pulverizer 4. Well, I guess in reality, it doesn't too much matter then. You know, we could have set up some side mills, I guess, but even at that, the side mills, you know, those are fairly slow and they require additional material, like flint or dark steel in order to operate properly. So now we need to figure out why our import bus is not importing. I guess it is. It is just doing it at a super slow rate. There it goes. Had to connect with the system apparently. So now if we take a look, you know, we have extra ore in here that we didn't have before because we are now processing all of this dense ore. And as we get more dense ore in here, we will go ahead and export it out to our pulverizer. So that's cool. That's awesome. That's amazing. That's what we want to see. Now, while we can, you know, have this running, you know, constantly and storing it in here, how are we going to get it to the main area? Well, that's an excellent question. We need some way to take all of our ingots, all of our redstone that we will eventually get to processing, and combine them, because we don't want to be sitting on, you know, 50 million gold ingots. That's just kind of absurd. That's a waste of space. So if we block those ingots down, we may end up with 30 million blocks, which is significantly better than 50 million single ingots. That's what we're going to start working on right now. For that, we are going to need something from a mod that we have not touched yet, and that's going to be factorization. And that block is going to be the packager. The packager will craft in 9 or 4 items. So it will go through and it will automatically, for essentially free, it doesn't cost any energy, and it will take either 4 items and turn them into, you know, whatever it can craft with 4 items, or it will take 9 items and it will block them up and create whatever it can with those 9 items. Well, again, I don't feel like, you know, wasting time with crafting that. So we're just going to teach the system because we're going to actually need quite a few of these. So for starters, let's go ahead and put the packager in there and let's order up, oh, I don't know, let's say about 9 of these for right now. And while that's crafting up, we're also going to need some filters. Let's see if we can get 9 filters out of what we got. We sure can. It's going to give us 10. That's fine because they craft in pairs. We're also going to need some servos. Let's craft up another 8 of those. Excellent. We're going to need some sort of chest as well. And I think for that, we're going to want to use one of these skystone chests. And for that, we just need some skystone. Let's go ahead and cut that in half. And actually, that's still going to be too much skystone, because regular skystone in the form of a chest equals a skystone chest. Go figure, huh? We'll put this extra piece back. as well as that. Now, again, the nice thing about the Stone chest is we can put it right up in a corner, and a normal chest will not open because it has a block on top of it. Not the Stone chest. That'll still open even if there's a block on top of it. That's why we're going to use it. It's a lot more versatile. Yeah, it's, you know, only about the size of a standard chest, maybe slightly bigger. 9 times 4, that's going to be 36 slots. So yeah, you know, it has one more row to hold stuff, so it's almost like an iron chest. That's still on the small side, but just the benefit of being able to place it right on a ceiling or something like that, or place stuff on top of it and still being able to access it, that's worth the small space that you get from it. So we're also going to come in here, let's grab our packagers, see if they're done yet. Just finished up. Excellent, thank you very much. And we're going to need an export bus. Several of them, actually. So let's get 2 for the moment. We are going to need some capacity cards. And let's get about 4 of those. There we go. We are going to need an import bus. Excellent. And we're going to need something else that we have not made yet. Something called a Unifier. Now the Unifier is from Mine Factory Reloaded, and that just requires a factory machine block, a book, a couple of comparators, and some plastic. Let's see what we're missing here. We're missing the book. Alright, let's see if we've got all the stuff. Oh yeah, we got the stuff to make a book. We have the stuff to make a comparator. We have everything but the redstone torches, of course. Let's make up, you know, just a small handful of those. Like that. So there's our 2 comparators. And we're missing the factory machine frame. There we go. I will teach the system how to make a lot of this stuff as well. Just because, boy, is it a pain in the butt sometimes to make by hand. So there we go. Now we have our Unifier. We're also going to need some item ducts. So we've got some impulse item ducts already there. That's fine. But we're going to want more. Let's see if we can make 100 of these for starters. And let's go ahead and start it up. Oh yeah. So there we go. We've got some dense cable on us still. We have our smart cable. We have some regular glass cable. Let's go ahead and start the basics for our processing. So we've got our pulverizer over here. It's still working on some dense coal for us. We are using approximately 10 out of the 32 channels. That's fine. But we're perfectly okay with that. Because what we're going to do here is we are actually going to take our Stone chest and actually, let's see here. Let's first lay down the base. Okay, let's see if this is going to work out to our advantage or be a hindrance here. I want to lay this down in a 3x3 for right now. And that's not bad. You know, I mean, I always could come out into the center of the room, but I have other plans for the center of this room. I'm going to try and keep all of the ore processing, you know, fairly close together. So I guess, you know, if it comes out 1 block, that's not going to be the end of the world, because it's not like we're running right down the line here. So let's go ahead and grab our packagers, and we will place those down. Now, I do not think we are able to change this. So it will automatically try and craft a 2x2. And if it can't, it will just fill up and then craft a 3x3. That's slightly annoying, not gonna lie, but it definitely could be worse. So, what we're going to do now, since we have a couple of the patchers down, we are going to grab the servos, and let's go ahead and throw servos on there. And then we will lay our next 3, and we will add servos, and our last 3. And let's add our servos. Cool, there we go. So now, we still have a little bit of room here. What we are going to do from here is we are actually going to take our unifier, and we are going to put our unifier, let's say, right here. That looks like a good place for it. And now we can take our item duct. We can go like that. And we're actually going to need the other filter. There we go. And you know what? We're actually going to need one more filter, because we're also going to want a trash can. And we'll show you guys why here in a moment. So let's come back up here. And turn this back on. I completely forgot that this was shut off. So there we go. Now we're back to processing. And we will turn off the auto sort on that. See, this is fine for auto sort. That is okay for auto sort when we get to processing faster. So let's go ahead and, just try and keep everything stacked up so we can get through as much of this as possible. So there we go. Once those are done, it'll start getting the rest of it in here. So we should technically have 3 stacks of iron, 2 stacks of tin, and 2 stacks of copper being processed at one time. So, and we will, eventually see all of these machines balance out to where they're doing that. Because this one should fill up first with the copper, so on and so forth. So that's going to be our fastest form of processing as of right now. So for this filter, we are going to place the trash can right there. Now we can add, no, we can't throw. We can add a filter here and there. And now we come up here and we can run our item ducts right up here, like so. And this is why I put the servos on first before I added the next one. It's a little bit difficult to get in here. I just wanted to show you guys that sometimes it's better to, lay just a couple at a time and, build everything so that you're not trying to reach through things to, add servos or filters or stuff like that. So there we go. There's our 9. And wouldn't you know, Red is still, the derp master of this series, as we still need one more servo. So there's our import bus, there's our export buses. So now we come over here and we can take our chest move that right there. And how do we want to do this, guys? I'm thinking that it's probably going to be best. If we have to move it, we have to move it. But I think we should be okay if we place the chest right there. And remember, sky stone. So even though it's up against the wall, we can still open to see what's going on. And then off of here, this is where we are going to put one of the export buses, two of the export buses, or not. Well, it's not liking that idea. So let's see if we can't kind of finagle our way in here, and just like that. So there's the export buses. Let's go ahead and we will throw our capacity cards in there. And in here as well. Cool. So now we can add our cables. Just like that. That's going to add 2 more to the line, which should take us up to 12. 13, because we have another export bus down here that we forgot about. So cool. Now that we've got that, we can go ahead and take our item duct, and we can place that right there with a servo. Cool. So what are we going to do? Well, we are going to look at all of our ingots, which, you know, we don't have a ton of yet, but we will definitely be getting more. So there's our zirconium, there's our ferrous. Oh, it worked with me. There we go. There's our gold, there's our iron, there's our tin, and the tin's the big one that's going to be the biggest culprit for right now. Also, don't forget that we also have, there we go, let's not forget, that's what I'm trying to say, our input bus is actually going to go right there on the side of the unifier. So, what are we going to do? Well, the unifier, if we take a look, it has a preference tab. And if we say that we only want ferrous ingots to go through, any nickel ingots that get put into the unifier will automatically get turned into its OR dictionary partner of ferrous. This is how we are going to dictate exactly what we want coming out of our auto processing. So, if we come in here and we take a look at blocks, we can see that we have aluminum. Well, we only want Tinker's Construct aluminum because that's what the system knows how to break down. We only want Railcraft copper, because if we take all of the mechanism copper and block it up, it'll turn into a mechanism block. We don't want that. We want Railcraft. So we wanted to make sure that it always turns all of our blocks into Railcraft. The gold and iron, we don't have to worry about those, because those are standard vanilla ingots and blocks. They will always turn into standard vanilla ingots and blocks. Lead, we want Railcraft lead. Our silver, we want factorization silver. Our steel, we are not turning steel just yet, so we don't have to worry about that. But we will, sooner rather than later. And our ferrous, we want it to be ferrous, not nickel. Osmium should just turn into regular osmium, so I'm not too concerned about that. But, you know, just for the sake of argument, let's go ahead and grab osmium. So there we go. That's pretty much everything that we have so far. Let's take a look at our shiny. You know what? Just to be on the safe side, let's go ahead and get our shiny, and we will program that as well. So now if we come up here, we can take a look at our unifier, And we can just pick these up, click them in. It doesn't use them, it just makes ghost blocks. And we are now telling the unifier that, hey, any copper blocks that come through here, we want this type of copper out. Any lead blocks that come in here, we want this type of lead out. Yeah, because it's always important to get the lead out. I know. Bad jokes, bad jokes. So, we have that. Now we have another problem. We have this tin. Well, tin has multiple recipes. Okay? Obviously, if we do a 3x3, it will make a yeah, I'm sorry, it'll make a block. I just completely blanked there. However, one tin ingot will turn into 10 nuggets. Well, it won't do 1, but it'll definitely do 4, which will turn into a tin gear bushing from Railcraft. And we don't want that. Likewise, aluminum, when we did aluminum, we break this down real quick. If we do 4 of these, that will turn into empty canisters from Tinker's Construct, and we don't want that. So we have to be very mindful of how we do things. However, we are in luck though, because what we can do is take, say, 9, 10, and the copper doesn't really turn into anything that those packagers can do, so we don't really have to worry about that. You know what, this aluminum ore has not been put into the processing, so let's go ahead and see, I should have just left the capacity cards in there. This episode might run just a little bit long, guys. So let's get our capacity card. Let's start. There we go, there's our capacity cards. We can put all of these back now, because we've got what we absolutely need. So there we go, there's our capacity cards, there's our aluminum ore, so that can get processed. So there we go. Now if we come back up here, we can start. I like to start in the back just because it's easier. We can whitelist copper ingots. And back here, if we can reach it, probably not. Let's try Ender Mini Form, see if that'll let us get in there. Come on. There we go. We want this to be Draconium, whitelist only. This is going to be Ferrous, whitelist only. This is going to be our gold, whitelist only. It's going to be our iron, whitelist only. And over here on the end, which is nice because it's easy to get to, this is going to be our tin, whitelist only. So now, we can come over here to our export bus and we can tell it, hey, export copper, draconium, ferrous, gold, iron, and tin, and it'll start filling up the chest. Cool. We come over here and we take a look, see if, maybe we got something else in here. And it does not look like we've gotten anything extra than what we already have in our inventory. But that's fine, it'll come. So now these guys are exporting fairly slowly. I'll get some acceleration cards in there so that it'll speed up. But now if we turn on this servo, it will pull out that copper, and it will pull it down here. And as you can see, it is packaging up the copper. and doing something with it that shouldn't be doing. Yeah, it looked like it was auto outputting the copper. Well, that's interesting. That is very, very interesting. These things are putting out a redstone signal. I was not expecting to see that. So as we can see, it packages it, it sends it to the Unifier. And the Unifier then unifies it and turns it into, you know, railcraft copper. So if that's the case, do we even need the servos? My question. Yes, we do. Okay. That's fine. That was just very, very unexpected. Here comes the iron. And again, you know, these are moving rather slow, and that's only because all we have on here are, you know, standard item ducts and, you know, only signalum servos and stuff like that. So, but if we take our tin here and we pop all 9 tin in there, we can see that, you know, it made that tin and it's not pulling it out. That is definitely interesting. So we're just going to set these up to ignore. So that way it will pull everything out. We don't have to worry about it getting backed up or jammed. There we go. Come on. This is going to be whitelist. This is going to be whitelist. And this is going to be whitelist. So that way, you know, if it's an empty whitelist, nothing will go in there. Because, well, there's nothing to whitelist. An empty blacklist basically says that anything can go in there. An empty whitelist says only nothing can go in here. And since, you know, something is not nothing, it will not register that, and therefore nothing will go into these packages here. But there we go. Now we've got one more piece of the puzzle done for our automated smelting process. I will go ahead and leave this run for a little bit so that, you know, it will continue to work through all of this stuff. Yeah, see, there it is. There's the tin bushings that I was worried about getting from the tin. So, that is why we need to come over here to the tin servo and tell it to blacklist tin bushings. So it is not allowed to pull out tin bushings. And so now when we get a couple more pieces of tin in here, there we go, there's 3. We should be getting another piece of tin here shortly. Here it comes. See? Well, it made the bushing. That's what I was afraid of. Oh dear. Well, that is something I'm going to have to work out, guys. I've got this working up over on a different... actually, I have it working over on the server, and it's not putting out as many tin gear bushings as this is. So in between episodes here, I will definitely work on that, guys. For the time being, I am going to just go ahead and shut off this servo so that this kind of gets a bit of a backlog. And again, try and figure out how I can get this to not create these tin gear bushings, because that's definitely not what we want. Anyway, guys, if you like this episode, make sure that you hit that like button. Also, don't forget to leave a comment down below. I'm still waiting to hear more about, you know, whether you guys want me to keep that that other material, the limestone, diorite, andesite, and granite. If you would like to see that used somewhere throughout the base, make sure that you leave a comment. Let me know. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon next to it for notifications. That way you guys know when the new videos come out. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media. At Irish Red Gaming is my Twitter, or /Irish Red Gaming on Facebook.com. So always make sure to check me out there. Videos will be posted there as well. And again, I hope you guys have an absolutely great day. I hope you found this episode somewhat useful, helpful, and or informational. Mother Nature, don't you do it. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. See ya.